And we're live. Hey guys, welcome back to Whiskey Charlie, the War Game Chat, our monthly show on YouTube. I'm your host, Mo from Mo's Game Table, and joining me are my two rambunctious and fidgety co-hosts, starting with everybody's favorite gimp with the limp, the Gimpy Gamer, Nate Rogers. How's it going, Nate?
Still the glory standing core, man.
There you go. And the notorious wargaming wizard from Oz, Kev Sharp from the big board. How's it going, Kev?
Just so fabulous. It's unbelievable.
There you go. So fabulous.
It's so fabulous. Everything's just rosy.
Everything's coming up roses, and we got a bunch of people already joining in early.
Well, Hexy's here, Stuka, the man, Dan.
Mark Herman's here. Nice.
Yeah, you missed a good game night the other night there, Kev. It was actually fun playing Modern Warfare or Modern Tactics.
Yeah. Where was I? Oh, I was out.
You were in Austin, right?
Yeah, that was a long night.
To be fair, though, the game didn't really start until turn 3 because Mo made a pretty grievous error.
Yeah,
there at the beginning of it.
Yeah, I didn't shoot. I just moved. But then again,
didn't realize he could fire.
Yeah, I forgot that you can move and fire. I had, you know how it is, you get rules in your head and you start, oh, this is move or fire. And then I was like, well, I need to move before I fire. And I was like, anyway, with the Hodges, I just want to run in. I mean, you want to be in CQB with those guys because the whole idea is overrunning the cops. So I'm not going to sit there and try to, get into a shooting match with the Americans because then you're just limiting yourself in range. I want to run in as quickly as possible, which was perfect for me because I was like, hey, yeah, just let's go. It's just straight line A to B,
Well, where we left off, I think like I'd held the game to that point, but I think it's going to be just nothing but the Mo show from then on out. Because, I mean, with my heavier machine gun taken out, my whole right side's just going to collapse. You're just going to fall in on top of it. There's not going to be much I can do from that point on.
He was hosing.
How many turns you get that?
We did 4.
3. We did 3. We were going to start turn 4. Yeah,
cool.
So at that point, we'll have to pick that up and play it again. But at that point, his right side, like you said, he has 50 there, and it was overrun. Because what I did was I kept sending my recruits up, and he's like, "You're just getting these guys hosed," and I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "You got all these casualty points." I'm like, "They're recruits. I don't care." I'm trying to let them. I'm hoping for maybe he'll run out of ammo or something like that, and then I wanted my fanatics to get in there. And then when I got the fanatics in there, he's like, "Oh yeah, I think one of the rolls you got was a shaken or something like that."
You talk about when I did the intensive fire.
Yeah, I think it was the intensifier. You got like a casualty and a shaken or something, but they don't shake. So I was like, yep. And they still got in there. Yeah. And they got in there and they took that out. And then the next ones that I got up on turn 5, which will be, the turn 4 is going to be the consolidation phase where I got to try to bring everybody in as close as possible. And then turn 5 is where I get the bombers in. So those guys just go in with their SVS, clack off and kill whatever
that's the thing. Everything I've killed up until this point, it's like lighter troops.
Mm-hmm.
And now you've got the suicide bombers ready to Allah Akbar their way right up in.
Yeah.
That's just going to end it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Fun game, though. I mean, really fabulous so far.
And that is one of the subjects we will be talking tonight about. But so how, what else have you been up to, Kev, aside from your little soiree over in Austin?
Well, game-wise, I've got right there is Race to Bastogne. So that's from the MMP sale, the GTS system, Grand Tactical System. It's my last gasp attempt to embrace it and say that I love it or hate it, one way or the other. And then on that side of the table, I have Next War Taiwan, and I've been looking at the map and texting with Ralph Shelton for about like on and off for a day and a half going, I've done all the air war stuff, and it's like the Chinese turn to move, and I'm looking at the map going, I don't know what to do. There's so many like things and choices to make. So I am shaping the beaches at the moment, the beach defenses, so that I can run the boys in and see if they can get downtown Taipei for a quick noodle shop run and see what happens. And then 2 cool things. I finished up. We didn't really finish. We only played like 2 turns. SBI's old BAOR game with the new consolidated rules. I played it before, and I was playing with a buddy of mine online, and he quit. He's like, "Yeah, this is BS. Don't like it, and the friction point thing is goofy, and I'm not going to be able to do anything." He was playing the Soviets. He didn't like my hit and fade strategy, so doing that. And then the last thing I'm doing, so we're switching to Spring Prelude or Prelude, depending on what country you want to come from, from Compass Games. I'm trying to get him excited about playing that because he likes the VCS system.
Yeah.
So we'll be doing that on Vassal. And then the last thing, I joined a play by email, Great Campaigns of the American Civil War, 8 turns starting in like 1st of January. And I get to be Lee, and I've got my 3 core commanders and army support chap, and we're going to, I think Kai, who may turn up, he's on my army staff, and we're going to play double blind against a couple of retired lieutenant colonels. So that should be fun. Yeah, nice. Yeah. I already told them to put the big boy pants on, get ready for spanking. I've got that message passed through. Make sure this gets through channels.
Yeah.
So just to get them riled up, I didn't want to say anything mean, like, hey, you obviously weren't good enough to make general, but it's okay, you can play with us. So anyway, that's all I got going on. That's it.
That's all?
That's it. Just that huge list.
Yeah. See, that's the thing about being retired. You get to do that. I am so jealous.
I don't feel really retired today. I spent 4 hours in a car today, just going 5 hours going to Costco and back for Thanksgiving. That was ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, I mean, holidays, it always eats up a lot of time for stuff like that. What about you, Nate? What else you been doing aside from modern tactics?
And cooking.
You've been doing all the cooking today.
Yeah.
Tell us all about it.
Don't hate on the wife, but good God, she can't cook. So it falls to me. So we're doing Thanksgiving tomorrow. So I had to do a lot of prep today, getting everything, pre-baked. So tomorrow I've just got to put it in the oven and we're good to go. She's like, it would be so fun. We can do a Friendsgiving. And I'm like, or I could stay at home and not have to play nice with people. She wants to go out and be social. I'd rather stay home with you.
Well, let her go out and you hang out with the kids. Or you have her take the kids. Even better.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, not doing that. So I got to go play nice and act like I like people tomorrow. But other than that, definitely a long list. Still trying to get in a Dark Wood. I started filming it, but I'm going to redo it because I didn't like the first way I started with it. I just don't think I was doing it justice.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thrown off a little bit by the movement rules on it. Because have you guys played that one?
No, yes.
I've played the system, but I haven't played that one.
The movement rules, I understand what he's going for. It's, if you're in movement mode, it's best type of terrain and best feature. But if you're not in movement mode, you get worse terrain and worse feature. So like if there's roads there, you can use the roads if you're in column mode, and you don't have to count the fact that there's forest in there. But there's a rule to it that adds movement points if there are other friendly units adjacent or in your hex. And I'm trying to move the Soviets forward so they can do the attack, right? And I'm finding that moving them along the road, I'm moving them maybe 3 hexes with the 12 movement points, versus if I take them off road, they're able to do like twice the distance.
Right.
And I was just kind of thrown. I'm like, I don't get what he's going for here. Is that supposed to be like the back roads are backed up, right? You got too many units trying to move through, because it shouldn't be harder for them to move along roads than it is for them to not move along roads.
That's one of the things in its model. It's trying to model that, I believe, is he's trying to model road congestion, which is a major issue when it comes to big vehicles, especially tanks and things like that.
Right. But it's also tactical stance as well, because you've got administrative mode, tactical mode, some other mode, and then you've got attack mode. And so
the posture that they're in.
The postures you have are going to impact. So that means you're going to have more screens and more guys on the flank. And so they can only move so far if they're in, off-road moving while you've got, your main column on the road. It's that old Soviet doctrine thing.
He could do a Russia Ukraine game and just have the Russians always in admin mode.
So that's
how they'd get hosed down the street or in the roads.
Right. So Mark is here, and he maybe can chime in. But I found with NATO Division Commander, there were 2 modes I used for NATO Division Commander, which is this is what Fabrizio's system is a riff of. Is you relieve the Russians in, I think it was admin mode, and then it was easiest or least expensive, I think, to pop into either tactical mode or hasty attack. I think was the choice. And so you ended up just using, there's all these other postures and all these other modes. And if you look at the time in Fabrizio's game, it takes a transition from one mode to another, you lose momentum.
Massive momentum.
Doing that by trying to get into the right modes, get you the right mods. And you look at all the mods in the CRT, it really ends up, it doesn't really make a huge difference. Whether you get a +1 or a +3, some of those columns are so close, relatively speaking, that it's only if you get really good rolls, like you're rolling a D20. So you get is it D20 or D10? I think it's D20.
D10.
D10 on combat, and so it's the 109 Scott, it's D20. You roll that D10. It's only if you get 10, 11, 12, or whatever that you might get a really awesome result. Otherwise, they're all about the same. If I was going to be sort of kind of, what does it matter, right? Whether I'm in this mode or that mode, the hell with it.
Well, that's kind of what I'm saying. Like putting them in, I started all Soviet, the entire Soviet army in road mode, because you can pick, right? And the Allies, the NATO forces, I put them in all defensive posture.
Sure.
So they're all exactly where they need to be. Their artillery's already set up. They're all, right where they need to be set up, good to go. But to issue a army order takes 4 turns for that to disseminate down through the chain.
Yeah.
And then it takes 2 turns to implement. And then some of my HQs, because the HQs are in road mode, have half the command range. So now they're out of communication with the command. So you got to add a turn on top of it. So now you're doing like 5 and 3 instead of, 4 and 2. And I'm like, I'm trying to play it out, as it would be played. And I'm doing just bad at it.
Well, that's why I said with those games, you really need a plan. You need to plot things out ahead of time, write it down for yourself so you can remember. Otherwise, you will get yourself screwed up in that. Well, no, either do I. But I mean, that's what I like about that game is you need to sit down and plot things out. You need to plan it just like planners do when it comes to movement.
You kind of have to do that because even for the defenders, because you're going to have your initial defensive positions, and then you are going to be displaced at some point.
Yeah.
So where do those guys go? In what mode? Which roads do they take to get there? And do they have support on their flanks, supporting fires to slow down the enemy?
Who's in reserve? Can you do a passage of lines? Yeah.
All that. So you got to really, there's a lot of kind of pre-game planning and decisions to be made about objectives and goals. And if you're not on track, then what are you going to do? Okay, maybe I need to flip into admin mode or road mode and just go for it, knife hand it and make it happen.
Well, see, the modifier for this for road mode is something like +4 for artillery. So you'll just get crushed by a bombardment strike if
they can spot you and get you.
Yeah. So I'm just sitting there thinking about it, and like I want to show the game off, and I want to show it off and do it justice, but doing something like that, I'm afraid I'm gonna play the Soviets so badly that they just get wiped off the map by the time I actually get them into a fighting position, get them out of the mode they're in, get them into an attack mode, and then actually try to do something. So many of them are going to be leveled by incoming the artillery in this game's accurate. It can reach all the way across the map. I mean, hell, Soviets have some that's like 120 hexes.
Yeah,
the map's not even that damn big.
Yeah,
well, that's the way it should be in all games. That's why one of the big topics we're going to talk about is ranges and things like that tonight. When it comes to tactical games, but artillery should be able to reach, air should be able to reach across an entire map board, because both of those shoot for miles. Your helicopters and your aircraft can shoot great distances. The artillery can shoot for miles. So even a tank, tanks aren't going to be like, well, you have a 2 hex maximum. It's like, no, unless they're like a kilometer each. No, you can hit further than that. So more than 2 or 3 or 4, or even eight hexes. So that is one of the things I would suggest with that game, especially that series. Any game you play in that series, I would suggest buying a notebook for each game in the series and keep it in the box or near the box, so that way you can write down all your notes about your plans and things you made mistakes on and things like that, and then even write down the hex numbers of where you want to go. Write it down on the plexi. Write out your roads, your routes. I mean,
pretend you're not a grunt and you're an officer. I know that will be hard, but stop chewing crayons, and then you just get a pen and you could.
Never stop chewing crayons.
FYI, so people know, I'm not hating on the game. I'm hating on my ability to play the game properly. It's a very good game.
Yeah.
I just don't think I'm doing it justice in the way that I'm playing it. So I'm restarting it and trying it again. But I do have a lot of, to adjust the rest of it, I got a lot of modern tactics I've already got filmed. I'm going to have up soon. I want to get that update kit for 65 came in. Speaking of Mark Herman, that update kit for
Walker.
Not Mark Herman. I'm
Mark
thinking Mark
Walker.
Walker
65.
Walker.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a Mark 6.5, half a dozen. The other same difference. They both make games. I'm in the ballpark,
and that's
slightly different games,
and that's about where the similarity ends. But that's okay.
But yeah, the update kit for 65 came in a little while back. I don't know if you guys got that one.
Yeah.
I haven't got a chance to actually get it to the table, but I want to try to show that off at some point when I get a chance. The rest of Modern Tactics, I've still got more World at War 85 that's been on the table for a while that I've been trying to film out. And then those games from who sent that shit? Damn, I can't remember the name of the publisher. Hold on. Knocking down everything. Who's the publisher that has the P? Is that Phalanx? Yeah,
Phalanx.
Yeah, Phalanx. 1920, Nest of Eagles.
Oh, nice.
This is the one they contacted you, Kev, too. I don't know if you.
They contacted me as well.
Yeah, you got that one.
I did not. I passed on that one.
I just didn't get back to them.
This one actually looks interesting, and I tried their book game as well. Hold on, I got that one right here.
Hang on a sec, guys.
A Bridge Too Far.
How is that?
Phalanx Games. It's actually pretty good. I've never played one of these before. I've got the review. I'll have that up soon talking about the game, but it's one of those, how to best describe it. You need dice. You need separate sheet of paper to write stuff down.
Yeah.
You've got like a kit, and you're playing as one soldier going through that campaign, right? I'm having a brain for it. The bridge campaign from World War II.
Arnhem.
Yeah, Arnhem.
Market Garden.
Market Garden. That's what I was thinking. Got the little maps in here. Shows all that stuff. But
that's from Phalanx?
Yeah, from Phalanx. They're the ones who publish it. It's by Jose Luis Barca.
Okay.
I'd never tried one before. They offered it. I was like, yeah, I'll give it a shot.
Sure.
But your character has stats like body, mind, will. So think strength, morale.
So kind of like a light RPG.
Light RPG. You have to maintain ammo and whatnot. You'll do combat, but it tells the story of one fictional soldier's experience going through that combat action. But the other people who are in the game are actually based on real people.
Okay.
So the people that you are working with are that people that actually fought there in real life. They're realistically put into the game. Really cool thing, and it's only about $20. So something you could take with you on the road, play with, and it's nice, hardbound. Got bookmarks built in and all that. But I've never tried one before. I have enjoyed it thus far.
Yeah.
I just couldn't really review it properly without spoiling it. So I basically just explained the game and how it's played. But I'll have that up here soon as well, hopefully. But yeah, that's what I've been up to. And baking. Lots of baking.
Okay.
Well, that is one of the things that Mark was saying. He was asking if we played any more of the Army of the Potomac. That's one of the things that we are going to do. I got to contact Jeff this week. Last week it was Modern Tactics. I got to see if we can find some time this week for Army of the Potomac, and then we're going to have me, Jeff, and Mark get together and talk about his new game, which he just said is going to China on Monday. So if you had been playing Rebel Fury and looking forward to Army of the Potomac, we're going to be talking about that and what you have to look forward to in that game, because we played a couple weeks ago and we were like, okay, either we did something wrong or I did something really, really right, because something really weird happened. I won like on turn 1. And Mark goes, no, you totally played it right. Jeff, you made a mistake by not moving one unit up, because that's all you had to do to stop my progression all the way to the courthouse, which is what I did. And I got enough victory points for it at that point where I would have won the scenario. So we were like, I was playing as the Union.
I mean, they won the war, so.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was just one of those things.
I was going to try and hot swap to the wired internet, but it appears the port is not functioning, so we won't do that.
Your tech support?
Yeah, he can't test the port. He can test the cables and stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway,
right, now you got a new game to play with him.
Yeah, so he didn't get to use the zone of influence on me, so we'll have to try that again and see if we can, have the different result. And but it's an interesting game, and if you like maneuver, that system is all about maneuver, and I think that's really interesting.
I'm keen to get that the new larger campaign that he's got coming out.
Mm-hmm.
It's one should be really neat. I've got from GMT. I'm still on pre-order.
Yeah, it should be interesting. And like you said, it's going to China on Monday. So it's going to be pretty awesome if it gets over there now. Maybe, I don't know, February timeframe, I'm going to guess. February, March.
No way.
So that would be really cool.
They're backed up, I think.
What's that?
I think they've got a lot of stuff backed up.
Yeah, that's true.
And you got Chinese New Year and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's why you want to get it out of there before the end of January.
It always seems like it's Chinese New Year. Everyone always, anytime I see a company complaining about delays, they're always like Chinese New Year. And I can never tell when it is, because it seems like it happens beginning of the year, middle of the year, end of the year. Little bastards are celebrating all the time.
There you go. Exactly.
What just shipped from GMT that I did not order? I don't know what you did not order. February.
Did you order? Yes, Sicily 43. That's shipping, which is a surprisingly small. I forget how much the game was, but there ain't a whole lot in that box.
Well, it's like Salerno. It's like
all those boxes are relatively small.
And I think they're going to join. I think they're linking either, maybe not Salerno, but Anzio, and when they do the Anzio one. But I was kind of opening the box and went, oh, that's cute. And then
why didn't they do this in a folio?
Yeah, really. And why charge as much as they did? But
there you go.
Next War Taiwan shipped. That's a biggie. Yeah. All good. Aliens shipped from Free League.
I still haven't got that.
You haven't got yours yet?
No.
Really?
No, the copy I have, I printed off from the PDF.
I got my copy 2 weeks ago. I think
I only ordered the book, and I only got it because you two dummies got it. So I was like, okay, I'll get it so we can all play it together.
Yeah.
I haven't got. Well, I mean, technically, I really can't complain. I've got the book. I've got it.
Right.
Right. I had a friend who does printing, so he was able to print me out a professional copy of it.
Nice.
But I still want the hardbound one that I paid for.
That's one of the things that I've been really. I really need to spend some time this week. I got to find some time, spend it, and look at those spiral binding machines, because it's Black Friday this week. I've been wanting to get one of those for years, thinking about just doing my own rule printing for updated rule books and things like that.
Get a 3D printer. If you're going to spend that kind of money,
I'll do that after I retire. I'll do that after I retire. That's not a really important thing right now. I don't have the room for that.
I wouldn't even know what to print. I was thinking of this big. No, I know, but I was thinking about getting one a few years ago, and I sat down and said, okay, so what, Kevin? What would you print? And I looked at the wall.
Miniatures, a lot of miniatures.
Well, yeah, but what miniatures? What would I want to print?
whatever you wanted.
Yeah, because then I just got to print all that up, paint it all, and then I sent all my
minis,
aliens.
I printed dice, I printed everything. I got little Jawas sitting right over there. Jawas.
What do you want?
Yeah, you can do this too. You can print guns.
Does this turn off?
Yes. Well,
but we live in Texas, so we don't. Guns are not we're not any shortage of guns in Texas.
Let's see, a little Jawa there.
Oh, there you go.
I didn't touch them.
No, Janie.
I haven't painted them yet, but that's for the Star Wars Legion.
Nice.
Buddy wants me to play it with him.
Nice. Well, you can maybe get better miniatures. That is the one thing that I will say that I was disappointed from Free League with the miniatures. They were just not
a lot of detail.
Who's
Free League?
They weren't Free League Publishing. That's who does the Alien series in Twilight 2000.
I got the board game years back. The Aliens Colonial.
Yeah, no, the Glorious Day and the Core.
Yeah, that one.
Those miniatures are way better.
I've got great minis. I got Colonial Marines.
Well, it's Aliens, so it's like when it's Aliens, you know me, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah.
I'm like, I gotta get in on it. So
well, you say the same thing about BattleTech, but they just recently released the solitaire version of that.
The Aces.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
That came out. Did you get that one?
Not yet, but I'm placing an order.
You should get it, man.
Yeah, I will, because it's solo. You know, that'd be great. But again, space and time is my enemy to be able to do it. But I will have it for
working
the future.
Thing you're doing. It takes.
Yeah, there's this thing about I kind of have a terrible desire to eat. So powerful compulsion to eat. So
right, exactly.
I mean, I could retire right now, but no.
The wife's still working, right?
Yeah, she's going to retire when I do.
No,
but she's only working part time. She's like working 3, possibly 4 days a week sometimes, but I'm working full time. And then I have goals in mind that we had set. And once I hit that goal that I set, then I'm like, that's it. Hit the eject button and I'm out. But yeah, okay. Let's see. Mark is talking about that, saying, Jeff, how difficult is a spiral machine to use? Which one do you have? Okay. Who has a spiral binding machine?
That's what Hexy does.
Oh, Hexy. Ooh, I got to talk to you about that.
Danny's right. I've printed, 100 BattleTech minis.
Oh yeah, you can print all the minis you want. You can do 60. He says 60 lances in 3 days. Wow, that's insane. But yeah, I mean, I will get one. That is on the agenda, and that's the thing. I said that to you a few years ago when you got one. You were like, "Oh, you got to get one. It's the greatest thing ever." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll get one." And by the time I do get one, they're going to be number one, better and lower in price. So I'm like,
you can get a good resin printer now cheap, like $120.
Oh, I know. Resin printers were like $1,000 a couple of years ago. They were $1,500 or something like that.
It's actually the FDM, the plastic ones that are now so expensive because you can make bigger stuff. You can make a suit, you can make a helmet, you can make, all this high end stuff with it, or any number of different things. Now, you get what I'm saying? Like a lot of people print,
make some Liege armor.
But those FDM printers now, a decent one's like $500 or $600. Resin ones, they're all used for minis, so they're all cheaper than hell.
Maybe I'll get both, and I'll get that, and I'll build some Liege armor for me and Kev so we can KTF.
Yeah,
do a T-Rex.
Do a T-Rex, exactly. How cool would that be?
That would be so cool.
I just need a physique to go with it. That's the only problem.
Yeah, well, that's what the armor's for. It hides it.
Yeah, really. Yeah. Oh, there's a really skinny old guy underneath all that.
Yeah, and Paul's saying the same thing for minis. Definitely go resin. So,
well, yeah, the FDM doesn't have the same resolution. FDM, the layers are about a 1/10 of a millimeter thick or so. I mean, you can easily see the layers, right? And in the resin printing, you don't see the layers, right?
But you can do something. Can't you do something to get rid of the lines, the print lines?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The lines.
Yeah.
On these, the one that I have is a 10K resolution. You can't tell that there are lines on this thing.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like 10,000 different, very, very, very thin layers. So you can't tell. FDM isn't like that. It's a bunch of squished plastic pushed into a shape.
This one, you're saying you have the plastic binder one. Is it the spiral bound, or is it the other one? I forget what the heck they call that. but the bigger clips,
The
not the
crimp
spiral.
with the crimp, with the kind of the plastic crimp on the ends.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that as much
Yeah,
as the spiral binding I love, because you could just open it up, flip it over. I mean, spiral binding is the way to go for rules. And there's so many times you see updated rules for different games, especially series rules, like we're talking about
Right.
C3 series and all that stuff. The deeper they get into it, the more they refine the main rule book that can be used, retroactively. So it's like I print them, instead of going to Kinko's and it's only $20. Well, I could print them full color instead of going black and white. Those are black and white anyway. But for a rule book, I can print full color, like the Central Front series. We were talking about that, the unified rule book and the new rule book for that.
50 pages, right?
Yeah, you can print that at home and spiral bind it. You're good.
But are you going to spiral bound enough stuff to make it worth getting the machine versus just going to Kinko's?
Depends how much it is, right?
Well, I mean, every time you do one of those manuals, it's like anywhere between $20 and $30. So if you and I've printed probably about at least half a dozen over the years, at least. So if you print those out enough times, it's like you just bought the thing. You might as well just buy it. And I've held back on printing some because I'm like, I really don't feel like spending $20 or $30 for that.
I kept a whole bunch of my kids. What do you call it? High school 3-ring binders, and I just I 3-hole punch my series rule books, and the real thin ones I'll use for OCS and 109 Sky and all that sort of stuff, and just slap a front sheet on it so I know what it is, something on the spine. But other stuff at all, if it's a full game, except for the maps, and sometimes even if it's like a folio game, I'll print out all the rules and put them in a baggie, and then 3-ring bind everything and put 4, 5, 6 games in a one of those big wide 3-ring binders. That works too. But those are good. Spiral stuff is just nicer.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I just love that. And because the binder
less space
is bigger. Yeah. It's you can flip it over, you can flip it over in half and leave it on the table and stuff. And Mark says he's asked GMT about spiral binding for some future games. And I think
they should.
Publishers should look at anything over 50 pages, especially going with spiral binding, because you can do that perfect binding. Once you get to 60, 70, 80 pages, that perfect binding is going to break. It's just going to wear over years. It's just the glue is going to wear out. If it doesn't fall apart the first 2 weeks. I'm looking at you. What was that game, Nate? The one you like that I sold, the Far East game by Victory Point Games.
Thunder in the East.
Thunder in the East. That rule book was a good example of just falling apart really quick, because I could tell the first week I was like just opening it and reading the rules. I was like, man, it's starting to fall apart. I mean, it wasn't apart, but I was like, it's starting to, and I can see in about 6 months it's going to be gone apart.
Lock and Load Tactical had the same issue.
Well, they switched to spiral bounding.
And they switched to spiral bound, which is absolutely the best. That rule book now is just a dream, because
they don't have a rule book. They've got a novel.
Well, yeah, but it's so much better now.
300.
See, I tore all the bullshit. There's like 150 pages of bullshit in the back of the rule book. I tore all that out. All the detailed entire scenario playthrough. I tore all that out. Took out all the extraneous nonsense and just kept the rule book. It's still a big document, but it's big print, lots of artwork. It's okay.
And we're on the cover.
Yeah, Stuart's right. Field of Fire Doors, they did spiral bound.
Yes, yeah, that is definitely. Yeah, that is definitely a big plus, having a spiral bound rule book, because like we said, it's just easier, and you don't have to worry about it wearing out or falling apart, anything like that, which is huge, especially for rules that you're going to be flipping a lot of times through and researching, searching for an answer. But so the topic that we started talking about offline ourselves, and we're like, this would be a great topic to talk about here on the show, and this way we can get everybody else involved too, would be about we're going to specifically talk about modern tactics, because that is the one that spurred this conversation on. And it is something that we do see in tactical games more than any other game, is unit ratings, and for movement, especially for fire, not for movement. That's really not as much a concern, but the units the capabilities to shoot, and how the same weapon system, for example, could have different ratings for different platforms, whether it's on a bipod, tripod, or if it's on a vehicle, or even on two different types of vehicles, how it has different ranges and sometimes shorter range. And okay, there are ways you can explain it, but it is kind of, a little confusing, and that is one thing that I wish that you were with us the other night when we had Shane on. We could ask Shane directly on that, because we're not picking on Modern Tactics. It's just that is the game that spurred this conversation on, because we've seen it in other games too.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, it's just the firepower values, because they all fluctuate between about 3 numbers, just 3, 4, or 5. You get into vehicles, you hit some 6 or 7s, but even the ones where you're using a vehicle, if they're firing at infantry, that firepower still tends to drop down to one of the more predictable numbers, so you don't see as wide a range. And I remember when we started playing, I'm like, why is the 50 cal a firepower 3, but a squad shooting M4s a firepower of 5? Right? Yeah, there's more of them firing, but that 50 cal blow a hole in what? Left field. For a second, I thought he was talking about a gun.
No, we're talking about the spiral biting machine. Now, do you have this one? And not to derail this conversation, but do you have this one, or you have experience with it?
That's what we do best.
Post the comments. Yeah, we tangents. Squirrel.
The 46 hole machine gun. But
so no, but there was a reason for that.
After playing it, though, I could kind of see why the firepower was a little bit lower, because that weapon does have the ability to do the heavy fire, so you can fire twice with it. And if you could fire twice with it and it was a significantly higher firepower, as I think it deserves,
that would be called.
It would just melt enemies off the board. Hell, it was already melting enemies off the board as it was anyway.
Right.
So,
but that's because of the CRT, though. The CRT is extremely deadly,
punishing.
Yeah, I think it's now. So I guess stepping back a little bit, I felt like maybe you could, because it's a revision of old school tactical, right? From Flying Pigs, same designer, same design,
same engine,
and I feel like they looked at the U.S. forces. Well, they're all 4s, right? Airborne, and all those guys are rated 4 firepower, and I think even the Morale is similar. And then I guess the Nazis, SS guys, were 6, maybe 6 firepower on their base squads, and so if you took that as a reference point, they just. I kind of feel like Shane went, well, if it was a 4 in World War II, it should be a 5 in modern warfare, because more firepower, more rate of fire, better weapons, all that sort of fun stuff. And then for the Hajis, okay, Fanatics 4, everyone else 3-2 or 2-3, whatever they are, 2-1, whatever they are, right?
Yeah. And
then so I think there's that kind of problem, which I think, rather than sort of looking at it going, well, what does a squad have? How many LMGs do they actually have? How many M4s do they have? What do they use, and what's the rate of fire, and what makes sense, versus a dozen Hajis running at you with their AK-47s held up here going, oh, what am I doing? Right. So I think that's a problem or a concern. So it's not going to be necessarily a serious war game. It's more of a fun narrative, Hollywood style, lock and load tactical thing, versus a kind of super detailed modern take on tactical combat. And then you have all the craziness of Apache helicopter cards and 500-pound bombs that have less firepower than a satchel charge.
Yeah.
Right. So there's all sorts of disparate. I nearly said bullshit. All sorts
you
of
can say bullshit.
All sorts of. Well, it's not. It's not bullshit. It's just so random that a 25mm chain gun isn't as effective as some other smaller, bipod machine gun, and then you've got a 500-pound bomb being half as effective as a satchel
I can
charge.
give you a 2-word answer for that, and I bet you Mark Herman can chime in on this. Game balance.
I don't think it's that either, man.
Probably what it came down to.
I think part of it is that.
Yeah.
So
maybe not the sole reason, but I think that's a big part of it.
Okay. But so if that was a problem, if you played the game and said, oh, I called in, and you know the 500-pound bombs only come as a card, right? So they don't happen very often. So let's even just set that aside and say it's just chain guns on tanks or AFVs or whatever they may be.
Mm-hmm.
They're in the game, and there's quite a lot of them. They should be absolutely devastating. So that's going to foobar a scenario. So what do you do for that? You give them more bad guys, right? You work out some replacement rate or some reinforcements, because you know the body stacking was pretty significant in those theaters. So rather than nerf all the weapons, and because then it's just, to me, it almost kills the immersion, and then it just becomes a story, and I'm playing for the story, not for the this is kind of cool, look what 2 squads of good guys did against 4 squads of bad guys.
I think that's what we're doing anyway most of the time in these games. The only thing this is missing is the Hollywood effect of the heroics that you get in Lock and Load Tactical, because
there's some stuff that can't be computed by a number, right? The training factor is something that you can kind of account for, but the higher morale, right? The patriotism, the fact that it's an all volunteer force,
right?
Guys who volunteered to be there versus guys that were ordered to be there or forced to be there.
Yeah, but then on the other side, you have the fanaticism of the fanatics and all the guys that are willing to do it for their religion.
Right.
So
we saw how
that
powerful
kind of balances out.
They don't break or shake.
Right.
That's tremendously powerful.
And then you add on top of that, you get guys who are fanatics and then are hopped up on something. So now you got an even worse guy, because now you got to put more rounds into him because he's just kept alive by chemicals at that point.
I thought it was fairly accurate. The Americans had a little bit higher firepower and better range, so they were trained to be more accurate at a distance. The Hajis had a little bit less firepower and shorter ranges.
Yeah.
As you would expect.
Yeah, and I don't have issues with the ranges per se. It's more just some of the goofy equipment, right?
Yeah.
Which is a function of, it's all relative to the squad. So if the squad's of 5 and this machine gun is going to be super powerful, then it needs to be really powerful, because it should be more powerful. There was some minis game I played where it worked out that it better to have it was some very popular one. So it started with a B. I can't remember what it is, but I had a platoon of foot soldiers and what I thought was going to be awesome heavy machine gun, and the platoon squad, whatever it was, of foot soldiers did more damage than heavy machine gun. And then the Rangers were also all out of whack as well. So that was another thing for that minis game per se. But
sure.
I don't know. I like it. I think it's a fun game to play and all the rest of it. But it's kind of like, this is kind of silly.
I'm not looking at, and I didn't get that game with the intention of it being a deep, modern tactical game. Like a serious, complex game. I got it for the fun. And I think it serves the purpose for that.
I like a little bit of both, though, right? I
do too.
Accurate. I feel like Lock and Load Tacticals Modern is probably more accurate than this is.
Well,
yeah.
This is going to sound kind of cocky, but I think Mo can back me up on this, because I'm being serious when I say it. They put stuff in the game like the fanatics don't break, but it's like, well, the American military doesn't really break either. Right?
True.
I mean, can you really think of any instances where you hear of Marines breaking and running?
No, they don't break, but I mean, it's a game mechanic. Again, it's one of those things where, it's for balance and for, it's designed for effect. Even if they're not breaking, you are disrupting them enough to where they have to step back or get them to go back, retreat, forcing a retreat, whereas they may not retreat. So you're forcing the retreat, maybe a casualty or whatever. So you are imposing that on the player based on whatever comes out on the CRT. So,
see, like Vietnam era games, I get why the American forces would have a lower morale because there's a lot of conscripts, there's a lot of draftees going on there, guys who didn't want to be there, guys who didn't believe in the cause.
Well, plus that was a different war entirely. There was a different mindset in the country, and even in the force itself, there was a lot of inequity as far as how everybody felt because of the conscription and the volunteer force, and just the way the war was being run. There's a whole different. That's a unique situation. That one.
I think the morale, like having the morales relatively close when you look at the Hajis versus the U.S. forces. And I know there's Canadians as well. I think that's basically the same rate as well. But I see how you have to have a play balance there, because otherwise the US would never break, right? And it's the only way you could get them is with casualties. So so I think there's play balancing there, but I just feel like if I'm playing a modern game and I want to get a vibe or a feel for what are the platforms capable of and all the rest of it, I kind of want to have some more accuracy than is presented in the game. And I think the fundamental problem is that the squad firepower for all the units baseline is too high. And if they were lower, then you could have a 50 cal with is it a 3? I think it's a 3. And the LMG is 2, right? Then that maybe a 3 would make sense then. So
I mean, even the technical's a 2.
Right.
And it's a 12-7, right?
Yeah. I mean, you're going ground when one of those starts, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it should be a little higher in places. And I'm wondering, like, how many concessions he was making for, like Mo saying, game balance. And I could kind of agree with you that the vehicles feel a little nerfed in some of their aspects. But Modern Tactics, the Afghanistan version, doesn't exactly have a whole lot of vehicles. Very few of the scenarios have vehicles in them.
No, but they are looking at doing that in the future games in the series, like Russia, Ukraine, and then the future Russia,
Russians
China,
and Poles.
America.
I mean, so in the examples of play. So there's obviously going to be AFVs and all that sort of stuff. So
and that's where ranges are going to have to greatly increase. You can't be having a tank shooting at 10 or 12 hexes. I'm sorry, they're not shooting at just 500 or 600 meters. They're shooting at 25, 3,000. So, and closer, of course, but on average, they're going to be 2,000, 2,500. Under 2,000 is optimal, obviously, but 2,500 is definitely within reason. So that's one of the things about with these maps, because they're small, you're limited to only a certain amount of numbers to go across a board. You have to also kind of narrow that down. It's like Battletech. We were talking about that as the example. Battletech, you get these big giant robots that don't exist in reality, but they're shooting these lasers and stuff, which theoretically could shoot for 1,000 yards, 2,000 yards, or whatever, at least. But meanwhile, what does everybody do? They run in and they just fight close up. There's no distance brawling like you'd expect with anything with standoff weapons, and they have plenty of standoff weapons as well as close in weapons. So again, it's a game balance thing and game mechanics. Plus, I think people would feel weird if my units are over here and then the other guy's units are way over here the entire time, and then you move a little bit and then you shoot more and you just keep attriting each other from a distance. That would feel a lot more boring, I think, for people, because they want that close in. We're closing in for the engagement.
Sure. But I think most of the scenarios they packed into that game. Look, great. It's a great package, pretty good quality, and all the rest of it. The scenarios look interesting. I haven't tested many of them.
They're very thematic.
Yeah,
what's
very,
that?
The scenarios
it's very
based
thematic.
on real world instances, real world things that happen. Like the one that I'm gaming out, Rangers are trying to take out an ID factory, bomb factory, right? And they are significantly outnumbered, but they have speed on their side. They can come in with heliborne or helicopters, get dropped off, try to take it, load back up, bug out. But that's something that would happen.
Which is super cool, right?
I think he did an excellent job as far as having the missions. And Mo and I talked about this when we were playing the other day. Be stuff that actually occurred versus the more generic, like King of the Hill, or just who takes out the most amount of points.
Right.
Well, I just got this on Amazon because it was $7.99. Cop Keating right here. This is another one that you can easily make your own scenario on. So you said you read this, right, Kev?
Oh yeah, it's a great book. Yeah, I actually tried to make a scenario with Local and Tactical for that.
Well, maybe we'll do one for Modern Tactics.
Yeah,
that would be kind of neat. Just have to. Well, I don't know how we'd use those maps. I don't think the maps have.
Yeah, so the maps wouldn't really work. That's
yeah, they probably wouldn't work. They probably have to come up with another map system. Yeah,
well, we can't even call the map small. I mean, it's a full size map. It's 36 by 22.
Yeah,
true.
Right, and it's mounted. And it's gorgeous.
You get two of them because you're flipping it over. You got other stuff on the other side, so you got.
And it's double printed, so effectively you got four. You got a full size one, and then like a lock and load tactical size map as well to play on a smaller one. They did very, very, very well with the maps, actually.
So Danny says, I feel really bad about anybody designing modern games now. Drones are everywhere. Americans have such overwhelming firepower. It's hard to show that in a game. The whole war space has been changed. Yes, it has. But the thing is, and I don't mean to downplay drones. It's just that everybody fixates on drones. Drones are just another tool in the toolbox. War is always evolving. That is just, it's like anything else. When the tank came in, oh my God, this is the end of when the machine gun came in, this is the end of war. This is the end of war. No, it's not. It's now a portable handheld weapon, so it just evolves. I'm not discounting drones. It's just that drones have had their day now, but they will be quickly defeated, and then they'll have to counter the counter, and it'll just continue evolving up the chain.
They got man-portable rail guns now. You
really
can buy one.
Nice. Yes. You can have like your own Gauss rifles, like in BattleTech.
the magnetically driven slug.
Yeah.
I saw a guy who was experimenting on this a few years back. Yeah, one of those shooting channels, but it was a legitimate railgun. Magnets fired it. There was no gunpowder, no anything. It didn't have tremendous speed.
Couple that with a jetpack and you're OP.
Yeah. It could load a magazine. It had a bunch of metal slugs. And the best thing about it was if you went back over to where you shot them, you could pick them up and reload them. There's no gunpowder. There's no anything. You can fire those slugs right all over again.
Hexy's like, here's a question with today's tactics and technology. Is armored warfare on the way out? Absolutely not.
No, they just got to find a new way to develop armor.
It'll evolve. It'll change. Maybe the tanks will be a little bit smaller. Who knows? But they'll have counter systems for drones and things like that. Because you're always going to need armored vehicles, whether to transport troops alone or to have them have heavier armor to protect the man-portable, not the man-portable, but the transporting vehicles.
Well, so I think we're at the era of the crossbow, right? So at one point in time, the knight was the peak of armored technology, right? Bows and arrows likely couldn't penetrate the armor. It could shield someone from sword strikes and blunt strikes and whatnot. And then the crossbow came, and the crossbow, a peasant who wasn't trained, but just on how to rack it, could suddenly defeat an armored knight, right? We are at that point now where a peasant, effectively speaking, can use a drone that they got from Walmart and put a bomb on it and fly it to the top of a tank, $1 million tank, and blow that tank apart.
Yeah, it's a great insurgency tool, and Paul's saying here, one cannot hold ground with air power, aka drones. You can, when they have counters for it, if you use counters for it, whether it's coming outside and shooting it with a shotgun or a rifle or something like that, and giving your position away. So follow-on drones will come in and take you out too.
Hold up. Did you ever see that video? It was on YouTube. Which one? The North Korean who was in Ukraine, and he was talking about how the Soviets had the peak technology, and it was showing this crap pipe welded thing together that had 4 AKs put onto it, and they had rigged it so they could pull the trigger and it would fire all the AKs, and they had rigged this thing up to try to shoot at drones, right? And the North Koreans just mind is blown, like, look at this amazing technology the Soviets can't lose. And it's like, you think that's amazing technology? Like, if you fight the Americans, you're gonna die. Like, you don't even stand a chance.
Au contraire, mon frère. You have to remember that was the American attitude in Vietnam. We were fighting a bunch of guys that were carrying AK-47s and, bags of rice. They beat us.
No.
So
we would have won Vietnam if it wasn't being fought by politicians in Washington.
Yeah, but the thing is you have to remember, don't always think that overwhelming weaponry and capabilities alone will beat another force. Obviously, politics has a major impact to it, but it's not as simple as you think. There's another little war, the American War of Independence. We took on the greatest superpower on the planet,
but we had
the British Empire,
greatest defense that still has yet to been beat, and that's the Atlantic and the Pacific Oceans.
That is one of the big things, but also the desire to have freedom. We had a cause, they didn't.
Granted, so but if we were next door in France, we likely would have lost. The fact that they had to wage that war across the Atlantic with the technology of the day is the reason they lost.
But they also owned the seas of the day too. So I mean, it's one of the
most powerful navy in the world. That's why the Marines are the utmost of power now, because we hold the ability uniquely to be anywhere in the world within 30 minutes with the ability to wage war for up to 3 days unaided. No other country on the planet can make such a boast.
True. And Mark's saying, by the way, drones are less effective in high winds for recent Russian advances in poor weather. So drones would not be effective in middle America, or even in the West, like a Montana and stuff like that.
The small drones, the larger predator drone.
Yeah.
Come out to my place.
Yeah. A larger predator drone can fly in a little more severe weather.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's talking about the little,
the little ones.
The Walmart drones.
Yeah, even the bigger ones.
That shit when I was in Iraq, we had boxes and boxes of radio-controlled vehicles that they started using instead of Johnny 5, because Johnny 5 cost $25,000 every time he got blown apart, but a T-Max cost $500.
What happens when you fight in an environment like Vietnam again? Monsoon seasons in the Pacific.
Jungle? Oh, well, jungle and.
Not only the jungle canopy, but then you got monsoon seasons for several months. That's going to limit your air. Your drones are not going to be as effective or capable of getting up in the air. So,
are we planning to invade a tropical country that I'm unaware of?
Well, there is. Indo-PACOM is concerned with China. So, I mean,
we don't have to invade China. Let's just make
the whole China threat over there in the Pacific is what I'm saying.
We just need to glass China. No,
Paul's saying that we can 3D print a railgun.
He's technically right.
There you go. This is a good point too. Stacking Limit says when aircraft came in, they said we no longer need infantry. You always need boots on the ground. Always. You'll need somebody to go in there and physically take and hold.
Until they come up with the drone robot.
You got code cages, you got EMPs. Yeah. Till you have the drone robot, but then you need people to control the drone robots. And then when you have the people who are controlling them, you're going to have guys that are going to go in and take those guys out, whether it's through another drone or another robot, or go in there and do direct action against them. So I'm just catching up on the comments here. He goes, I always love the luxury of finding the bad guys and backing off and letting the tanks, helos, RD or air deal with them.
That's my boy.
Infantry will always be the queen of the battlefield. Political will is a factor every war except the last one. True. And then true, obviously, Washington's always involved. But yeah, I mean, I'm going to keep scrolling through these comments here. I don't want to get too far behind on them. But the thing is, when you have, we're going back to the ratings. When you're designing a game, you are limited to the size of the map too. So
I think too many designers are limiting themselves. And I know I hark on this, Kev picks on me for it, but they limit themselves by the freaking dice. Too many designers go to the 1d6, 2d6 system, and it's like it's overplayed. Use a d10, use a d8, use a d20, use something else. Add a bigger die, and you have a larger pool of results to pull from.
Right.
And that gives you the ability to use bigger numbers or a wider variety of numbers, because your dice pool isn't as limited to just 12 numbers. What?
Percentile dice.
anything, whatever. Try something besides friggin' 2d6. It's burnt out. It's played out. It's done.
I don't disagree with that. I disagree with you. I disagree with your compulsion and fascination with having pretty pictures on the dice.
I like neat dice. I like custom dice.
Well, that is cool too. But what about using in a tactical game? The thing I always get fixated on. You have a chit pull for your
Kev won't play chit pull.
Strength? No, for strength.
Chit pull. What's wrong with you, boy?
You don't play.
You said you wouldn't play. What game is that?
What? When did I ever say I wouldn't play chit pull? Which one?
Enemy action Ardennes, enemy action Kharkov.
Chit pull for CRT. Yes.
Yeah, chit pull for no. Yeah. We're talking. No, we're not talking that. We're talking about chit pull for like in the Formations game by VUCA, where you get that variable combat system going, where it's like, okay, you know what? I think I got him 3-1 here, or I've got enough guys. Well, I've got him outnumbered. I'm going to hit on this on the CRT. This is what I need to roll. You math it out before you get into the combat. Well, now you got to pull a combat shit. And that 3-1 now is a 3-3, which is a 1-1. It changes because that gives that ebb and flow. And then
I'm all for chit pull.
Instead of having flip once and then out, how about maybe giving a 4-step unit? Make everybody 4 steps. So you whittle them down. You make the combat feel longer. For a tactical game, I think that would be even better.
Yeah, sure. Well, that's so that's what happens with the VCS system, right? So you have the unit, and then you have the strength counter underneath it. Then you flip the strength counter, and then you flip the unit, and then you're done. Right? That's an option. So as Mark said here, 2d6 is a normal distribution, and 1d10 is linear. So you have that to consider. It may give you more options, but what you're going to do with
D10, 2d8, just something bigger numbers. See, 1d10 still better than a d6.
Yeah, d66 is one of the ones I like the best.
Kev hates chit pull CRTs.
Well, he's not wrong there.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't.
You're just cutting yourself off the knees.
Oh, no, I'm not actually.
Kharkov is an excellent game. It's a very good game.
Oh, okay.
Go back to ASL.
But what I like about this here is when it comes to chit pull, having that variable force strength is you don't just chit pull and then you do your combat and then you pull another chit. No, you throw it back in and then you shake it back up. You may get that same one again. I don't think you should ever, pull things out until it's empty and then put everything back in. Everything should be right back after the combat. All the chits go back in because you never know what's going to happen.
That if a squad were to attack, they would do a chit pull to find out if they had 1 to 6 firepower.
Yeah, every combat you do a chit pull. That would change the variable. It would change the variability of your strength. So like I said, say you're outnumbering, you got your a couple of units and you got what was it? Like the other night when you were shooting, you were doing all the shooting. So you would remember more of the numbers than me, but you'd be like, okay, I'm on the +1. It's like, wait a second, you're on the +1 column, but wait a second, let's do a chit pull and see if that changes. Well, you may go up to a +3. You may go to a -1. Depending on what the numbers are for both sides, how that can be incorporated into a tactical system. I think something
part
like
of the problem was Vassal wasn't very accurate with its.
It
was extremely high, like consistently high.
It was.
Hey, listen, don't you criticize the Vassal die roller? It's been tested billions of times, gentlemen.
Yeah. Mo passed statistically far more morale checks than he should have.
Because my guys were freaking motivated.
Yeah. And I hit far more often than I should have.
See, I had a chat. I had a chat with my guys, and you obviously had a chat with your guys, and that's why they were both doing good.
Except
let them shoot you, but don't quit.
That one time I needed the arty to go where the mortars to go where they needed to. No, then they failed the morale check.
Yeah. That always happens though. But again, mortar, that's another system that a lot of people think is going to be the savior. And mortars really they're a terror on the battlefield, but they're not going to always inflict casualties in the way that you think. It's not going to take out half a squad. Yeah, occasionally it may hit and take out half a squad. But the reality
of it is, it's to maim, not to kill.
Yeah, it's more to maim and to suppress and slow the enemy's advance more than it is, or maybe to push them back than it is to actually kill them all, because it's just an area effect weapon that you're kind of blind throwing it out there. Even with coordinates, you don't know exactly where it's going to land.
Right. So, also depends on the caliber too, though, right?
Sure,
81s or 120s or whatever.
Yeah, if it's a 60 millimeter, it's going to be smaller. 80, 120.
Grenades, right?
Yeah.
Well, we can talk to Shane, give him our recommendations for the next series to
but I mean, you can't
out
fix
the firepower a little bit.
I don't know that you can fix it per se. Like you just have to leave this module as a standalone.
I think the next one would work fine. I mean, he was talking about different forces, not based on a real world stuff, more fictional. He was talking about like fictional World War III for the next one, wasn't he, Ma?
Was he really?
Well, a fictional meaning, like a Taiwan scenario, something that hasn't happened, something that could, but hasn't happened yet. Another one that he's looking at is Russia, Ukraine.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah, Russia, Ukraine, Russia, Poland, things like that. Things the ones that are probable, or the ones that are happening, like Russia, Ukraine, and Mark had said up here that everyone's going to really enjoy Defiance. Because the what was it? Troop quality matters. I think he had said up here.
I'm still looking forward to that one.
Yeah. I mean, that was very interesting having them on and seeing the demonstration of that. And if you haven't already checked out that episode, go check out the Friday Night Fights where we had Mark and Doc on, and we were talking about the game, and they were showing the game in action, and it was just really interesting to see all the different pieces come into play. And obviously it was just a sampling of the game. That's not actually the full gameplay or anything. So really looking forward to that.
As a compliment, because I slammed that rule book the day we were doing the interview, so I would be able to actually talk to him about the damn game. And now I've got to read it all over again because data dumped all that information since then.
That happens.
Yeah, like last 100 yards uses mortar suppression with some casualties.
Yep.
Russia, Estonia. So, I guess potential future scenario or situation for modern tactics. But they're looking at doing a series of these, and if we're going to get, he was one of the things that really had me excited about it. Said that the games that are going to have like China against the U.S. or I guess Russia and Poland or whoever they're going to fight. He said it's going to be highly kinetic. So you're going to be seeing a lot of tanks and a lot of armored vehicles, a lot of infantry and stuff like that out on the battlefield at the same time. And guys are going to get killed really fast because that is true with the modern battlefield. If you were to have a peer-to-peer battle, it would be different because then you're not dealing with an insurgency where you have to go hunting them down. You're basically now you're lining up and you're going head to head. So something like that. Would you really
call China a peer?
Yeah. I mean, I would even consider Russia
a retarded cousin peer,
Well, I mean, I would consider them peer. You don't discount them entirely, where you say, oh yeah, we're going to totally steamroll them. You never discount your enemy, in my opinion. And we should have learned that after all the wars we've fought. Never discount your enemy. Always respect them, and understand how to go in there and destroy them and destroy their will to make war and their capability to make war. And that's one of the things that we've got into is war has just become a business for the United States. And we're not going and trying to destroy anybody's capability to make war like we did in World War II.
Yeah, but because of our consistent love of a good fight, we're one of the only superpowers that actually has a modern military that has experience, right? And it's especially down at the lower levels that's
not as much now. Not as much now. A lot of those guys are out.
They're out, but others have taken their place who have experience. We don't have a completely fresh force.
No.
Yeah. And you've got the NCO class as well.
Sure.
It's the backbone of the military, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God, though, that is making me feel old because a lot of the guys I served with, I'm seeing some of them like post their retirement pictures, getting out. They're like, yeah, I got out as master sergeant or master gun, whatever. And I'm like, fudge, I'm old.
It's funny. He's talking the Northern Maple Wars. That is literally one of the scenario ideas I was thinking of while I was looking at the game, I was like, man, we should have the U.S. and the Canadian units go at it and have it be over maple syrup. I think it would be hilarious. What's that?
We start shooting them and they just start apologizing. Sorry.
Sorry. No, as they're killing you. As they're killing you, they're like, sorry.
Yeah, that'd be funny. Anyway, maple syrup from Vermont is better.
From Vermont.
So Mark says, Mo, amen, but a peer isn't just tactical fights, but the industrial base to make any war one of exhaustion. True.
And that's what China has. Right?
China has superior to us.
Plus the stockpile, right? Yes. They've got years of supplies of SSMs, for instance.
And they've got years of people. They got years worth of people too.
Yeah.
Well, that's the only real advantage they have.
No, the industrial base. The industrial base.
They have an industrial base, but it's not an industrial base of quality.
They have the industrial base of the world. They build everything for the world.
They can make 155 millimeter shells. They can make SSMs. They can make ATGMs. They can make tanks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying it is likely we're going to see something pop off with them because they are very quickly approaching that problem with the population where they have a lot of unemployed extra males that they need to do something with. And historically, when countries end up like that, they tend to war them off to kind of reduce those guys.
We can make like a little human chain across the straits to Taiwan with all the people. And then you could just walk
across their heads.
Well, Western Taiwan could make a chain of people to Eastern Taiwan.
I'm saying China can make. Never.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Western Taiwan.
Oh,
yeah, Nate, you seem stuck in the 80s. The Chinese industrial base makes all of the parts we assemble stuff from. They pretty much make everything for everybody in the world.
Yeah.
Now,
I
other
just
countries
don't
are
give
spinning
people
up more.
the credit that some of them do, calling them the big bag boogeyman.
No, I agree. I mean, I do feel that there is a good portion of China that is a paper dragon. And part of that is due to what you said about the fact that they haven't fought a war. The last time they fought was against Vietnam, and then of course they had the rocks and sticks against the Indians in the mountains, but they haven't really fought like the U.S. has fought, which is, a great advantage for the U.S.
Right.
Well,
however,
you have to look at other stuff too. Look at their civilian production, like what they're actually producing. Yeah, they're producing EVs, electric vehicles, but they're catching on fire. There's a massive problem of tofu drag construction where their buildings are literally falling apart.
Yeah, no, there are issues over there. There definitely are. But
stuff happens there that would,
if they can outproduce us on a 10-to-1 or 15-to-1 basis, that alone, even if
8 out of 9 or 8 out of 10 are garbage that don't work,
but they still tie you up. They still tie you up.
So there's an argument to be made for that, right? But let's just say first of all, they have stockpiles of weaponry that are 100 to 500x what we have of pretty much of everything. And so if 1 in 10 of them or 2 in 10 of them fail, they just shoot another one because they don't care, right? So what? It's the old.
How are they going to get here to shoot them?
Who? What?
How are they going to get here to shoot them?
They don't have to.
Well, they don't need to be here. We're going to be. The argument is,
why would we go there?
Well, you
take Taiwan.
If they want to take Taiwan, the chip industrial base is too important to Western civilization to be in the hands of China.
Which is why it should be pulled out of there.
Right. So, well, that's why some of these trade things that are happening with Taiwan building semiconductor factories here is a good thing. But I read somewhere, was it someone I was talking to? A lot of these chip factories are some of them are pre-wired to be destroyed, right? So if they're captured, they'll be destroyed. So the Chinese don't get them. But let's assume that's all conspiracy theory. The Chinese have the ability. We have the ability to outlast us logistically until we ramped up our production on all these things, and that would take 18 months. And 18 months or 24 months trying to supply 14 Marines on an island with with one Patriot battery is probably not a great plan.
Yeah, which is why that MLR concept was failed on the drawing board, but they went ahead with it anyway.
They're not a threat. I just don't think they're the threat that people think they are. I mean,
well, they are the greatest threat. They are the
what
greatest
happens
threat.
when they get to Taiwan? They better all stay in uniform. They go out of uniform. How are they going to know who to shoot?
They'll just shoot people until they stop resisting, because that's
They're not going to care.
That's not the Western. That's not the Western way of doing things.
Yeah,
it's like all these radical Islamists and Muslims in Syria and whatnot. They're just dragging Christians out and slaughter them in the streets because they don't care. It doesn't matter. Which is
why I said we should have glassed that zone to begin with.
I don't want to get into a political conversation about what we should or shouldn't do, but my argument is, from a military standpoint, the Chinese could very easily come in, and if they were able to land, and if they were able to conquer the place, and if we didn't get involved, they could, I think, quite easily be successful in Taiwan. But
I don't even think the Chinese want to get into a military conflict.
I don't think
they just want to use it as a threat.
Yeah.
They want to keep us, paying attention to that. It's like, look at this. Oh, we got these aircraft carriers now. We can do this. We have 5th gen aircraft. We can do this. We can do this. Meanwhile, they're just over here doing something else entirely, and they're just kind of teasing you with it.
You really got to think of it from this point of view, though. If things actually started to go to blows between us and China, that's pretty much the end of the world anyway, because everything is so interconnected. We have so many people now who can't survive without cheap Chinese goods. That our economy would collapse for at least a period of time if we were not.
Their economy would take a big hit too, and they know that, which is
why they wouldn't be selling anything. They'd be having
and that's going to ramp out, and it's going to hit everyone else. Which either turns into World War III, or everyone pulls back and says, "You know what? This is stupid." And I don't think people are smart enough to do that. So it turns into World War III, and we all die anyway.
No, I think if anything, it's going to be the continuation of the 100-year plan the Chinese have. They're patient.
Right. We have a bigger issue with insurgencies from religious entities than we do from we have from China invading Taiwan. And there's a good argument for just telling Taiwan, well, sucks to be you, right? I mean, I would have zero. I would let Taiwan go blow up all your factories, and you guys, you're all welcome here. What we'll bring in? How many are there? 9 million. Stick him in Montana or something. I don't know.
I'm sorry. Bob is 100% correct. There is no other country that can project force like America can.
But
Russia, supposedly the big bad, can't project force right next door.
Yeah, but you can't.
You have 82nd Airborne, 101st Airborne, 10th Mountain, and the Marines. They're all light fighting forces.
Yeah,
you don't have any
tanks. The Marines have been defanged.
You don't have anything to land anything with. You don't have any fucking artillery. And you have an air force, and the first thing if the China would do is glass Guam, right? If they were actually going to go to war.
Yeah.
So then you have no infrastructure and no staging, and anyway, I don't know. I really don't care.
I don't think. I mean, it obviously makes for great.
This is like me and Kev arguing and Mo playing Peacekeeper. So Mo's
no,
like
I'm not playing Peacekeeper. I'm just saying.
I'm just
I see valid points on both sides.
No, I'm just saying that. I'm just saying I don't expect China.
Mo, give you hurt my feeling. I have my one feeling.
Cowboy the fuck up. No, but the thing is you have to remember, China doesn't want to get into a war either. Like I said before, they'll keep the threat out there. They want to posture, and they want to prove, or not prove, they want to act like they are the world leader. They're trying to basically use more propaganda than the United States. U.S. has been the big force projector, like Bob was saying, and stuff like that, which is true. And we can do that, but we can't sustain it like Kev was saying, which is true also. And that was the first thing that I saw right away when I played FMF before it became Littoral Commander. I said, this is a failed concept right away. Just from playing that game, I was like, supply. And I'm not even a logistics guy. And I was like, how are you going to have Marines on islands with rockets, chucking rockets at Chinese ships, and they're going to have back and forth, and they're just going to exhaust their supply of ammo? How are you going to resupply the Marines on the island? And how are you going to know that they're going to need to be on that island? There's no way you're going to cover that much of an area. I just thought it was just, I could see where they wanted to go with it, but I didn't see the need. And they restructured the Marine Corps from that. So they took away those little cans of whoop ass that had everything was self-contained, armor and artillery and air, and your infantry and your naval gunfire, your naval aviation on top of the marine aviation. You had all these little boxes. You can say, oh, there's a problem here. Boom, kick ass, and they did. You've taken away a lot of that capability. You've really trimmed it down. And now they're more like the 82nd Airborne. And that was not what the Marine Corps was.
Politicians keep trying to eliminate the
Marines. That was Berger, the CMC, that did that. And I don't know.
Well, current leadership is also a Foo guard anyway, right?
Yeah.
The Marine Corps now.
Yeah.
There's people saying now that the current Marine Corps could not have fought the Battle of Fallujah, where I was, using the abilities that they have today.
Yeah.
That they would not be able to pull it off like we did.
No, they don't. Well, there's no tanks. And tanks were used quite often in Fallujah to support the infantry.
Yeah,
Marines were not happy about losing tanks.
No, I mean, I'm not to fixate on tanks. I'm just saying that is actually a big punch that you just took away from the Marines. And it's like, why are you taking a big punch away from your hard chargers? Why are you doing that? And then you're slimming them down even further. They're a light force. They go in, they hit hard, they punch a hole in wherever they need to be. And then you bring in the bigger army to, go in there and do whatever they need at that point. But even then, it's just a response force. If there's a threat somewhere, or trouble somewhere, you send the Marines in, they hit, and they make that country go, oh, well, okay, we're not going to do this, or you follow in with the army too. So it's just, there's a lot of different aspects to it, but I don't discount China entirely, but I'm not afraid of them. I don't think they're the big boogeyman, but at the same time, I don't say, they're a joke.
Right.
Didn't Shane say he was, the next game he was doing was going to have Marines in it?
Yeah, it was Marines with Taiwan. That was China one, yeah.
And Marine morale is going to be 9,000.
Low?
I know I'm cocky when I say that, and part of it is hubris and all that good stuff, but you don't see the stories in the news of especially modern military breaking. It just doesn't happen. So when I see it in the game, I'm like, it's just so inaccurate. They either just die to a man or they win. It just really isn't a middle.
And I'm totally messing with you.
Well, this is another good example too. This is something that's been talked about in tech circles for years. And Mark saying an article in Wall Street Journal recently, we have Chinese routers hardware throughout our infrastructure, and it's known that there are backdoor kill switches in that stuff, which is true. How much of it is out there? How much? I mean, I bet you in pretty much every one of our homes, the routers are made in China. So they could just kill it. And if you kill communications across country and you kill the capability of transporting food and things like that, that's how you can really hurt a country without even, you can go to war with a country technically and never
two
land
EMPs.
Well, yeah, that would be the
multi-megaton EMPs. Well, this country's done, right?
Yeah.
Well, not to mention all the farmland that they have bought is right next to major military installations.
Well,
we're fixing that in Texas. We start to take that land back.
Yeah, the average U.S. citizen has much more fear of their grocery bill than China.
Maybe people on food stamps, perhaps, or not on food stamps anymore. But I don't agree with that.
That's true. So we went from what was it? Talking about ranges and values to we're trying to solve the China problem. So
yeah, like
all over the place.
I'd rather talk about war games than the geopolitical circumstances around China.
We were wargaming out a war with China,
which we've already shown right here, saying logistics is everything in a war with China after the first week. And if that is your industrial base, the world's industrial base is China.
Right.
For the most part. Yeah, there's Vietnam, there's India, things like that. They're starting to grow, but they're nowhere near China. I mean, let's look at the simple facts. I'm going to turn it back to wargaming for a minute. Let's look at the simple fact that you can't print war games in America. You have to print it in China because
Blue Panther does.
You can't do all the components, man.
You can't do all the components.
The sexy shit. You can make square cannons.
And the quality and the QC, everything is better over there.
Right.
The process is so much better over there.
There are offsets on there are offsets on next war Taiwan. I mean, the counters are
really.
Yeah,
it has not been incentivized, right? So
incentivized comes from this.
Well, here's the problem, and
you want to pay $400 for a war game now?
we are happy to buy our more cost-effective war games because we're getting them from a place that employs just effectively slave labor, right? It's labor conditions that would never be allowed here, but we're okay with it because we get our war games at a price we're more willing to pay. And it's everything else, all the cheap plastic that we get from China.
Right. I don't know that that's accurate, but I will say that I forgot what I was going to say. But I will say that the Chinese, I think U.S. companies have seen the opportunity to, rather than pay U.S. employees and have the infrastructure and make the investment in equipment, it is cheaper for them to ship shit overseas, have it made there, and bring it back here, and it bumps their margins. And this is why the publishers, let's just look at our industry. It's why the publishers are bleeding, is because they have been raping. And when I say raping, I mean they have been making gross margins that are unbelievable, that couldn't be made in the US. And now they're not making them because of the tariff situation and all the politics and all that other bullshit that goes on. And so they're upset about it. And what that's done for the last 20 years has killed the incentives and the ability to make any of those games over here now. So when they try and pivot or change, they're kind of hosed. And none of them thought the grave train was going to end. And so they're living fat and happy for the last 20 plus years because they were incentivized by trade agreements and the entire infrastructure of the United States, manufacturing infrastructure of the United States, was just outsourced to China, just like we outsourced IT to fucking India. And the Indians suck at coding. They're horrible.
And right? We've got all our call centers and everything.
So all that got shipped off, and the margins went from this to this, and everyone went, this is freaking awesome. My shareholders will be happy. My bank account will be happy. This is great. And then the rules changed, and now people are complaining about it. And it's not because they're upset about the tariffs. It's because the money's not going into their pocket. And they don't give a shit about us or how much we have to pay, clearly, because they've increased the prices. So, it's just that they're not making as much money.
But they're not increasing the prices in comparison to the tariff charge that's actually being charged.
Yes, they are. Most of them are. I mean, that you
not all of them.
Well, who?
The one we were talking about the other day that you posted about. The game price has more than doubled. That is not the tariff cost.
Right? Oh, that's what I'm talking about. That's the rating. That's the rating of the consumer, because the consumer is stupid and willing to pay $149 for a game that used to cost $70 8 or 9 years ago, and that has nothing to even with inflation and COVID and logistical issues and all the rest of it, it is way more profit. And the reason why they think they can get away with it is because they have somewhat of a brand loyalty that people just go, oh yeah, 140 cards and one map and 200 counters for $149. Sure, it's disposable income. Who cares? I think it's outrageous, right?
Yeah, but people don't have the disposable income anymore.
They really don't. I don't think they do.
I tell you what, if I did not run a channel, I could not play war games. I have to work at my channel to play war games.
Well, you would be more selective, right?
I would be selective, period. Like there would be one selection.
Well,
I would probably just switch to digital because the digital games are cheaper.
Right. Well, Mark, I'll agree to disagree with you. I think the world's changed since you were publishing war games. Particularly, I don't know where you were making them, and I don't know your economics and all the rest of it. I've seen the economics for, and I've done the back of the envelope reverse economics as well. The growth, I think, generally speaking, the United States has outsourced its productivity, its production, and those gross margins have been more significant than we've been told, and now we're paying the price because of these tariffs that have been put in place. So it's
you see it more with companies like Come On, because they kept printing and running campaigns like tomorrow was never going to come. And then when tomorrow came, their companies collapsed.
Well, here's one from Bob Fanoof. He was talking about Fortress Games. His company just published 2 games in the heart of the terror, Secession 1861. It's the same price as our prior games, and the Armada is priced $10 less than any of our other games have been.
Fantastic. Right?
Yeah, and Bob is the one that was producing the 8th Air Force, the 28th Air Force.
Yeah.
Smaller game, but a lot of gameplay in the box. You were getting your money's worth. Wasn't overly charging people. Wasn't killing people on shipping.
Yeah.
I backed this campaign. Yeah, it was perfect.
The thing is with shipping, though, the shipping is not totally on the publisher. That is the U.S. Postal Service keeps up in their rates too. So
I think he's talking about the freight. Oh yeah. China, right?
From China,
and that's gone up and down. I mean, you look at it's gone from $30,000 a container to $5,000 a container and back up again. It goes up and down like a yo-yo.
It fluctuates.
So some of the publishers sat on their shipping for a little bit and let it wait for a little bit until the shipping came back down.
Yep. Which I'm fine with, right? Look, let's just adjust to the marketplace. Yeah. Made in Chihuahua. There we go. Thanks for bringing some levity into it. And I'm going to stop talking about it because I just it annoys me that this constant bleating about woe is me. The United States made a choice to outsource all of it, not just wargaming, but
the entire manufacturing base, for the U.S. doesn't change.
And so now it's harder, and now they're being incentivized to onshore. Let's see what happens. I think it could be good. Yeah. Maybe it won't be. I don't know.
I think a lot of people are just going to wait it out and figure, it's going to be like everything else. This will be something you have to weather the storm for X amount of years, and then it'll go back. So, and then Mark says Monarch Avalon was in Baltimore, all printed in USA. Monarch has had a business due to insufficient printing volume.
Right. But that was the 8. It wasn't that
more gift cards. More gift cards is the answer to our problems.
Well, you got to say, though, that's partly on the publishers, right? It's on the war game publishers who realized they could make $10 more a copy if they printed in China versus printing in the U.S. And more companies started doing that. So these homeland printers started going out of business because they weren't getting the volume.
Yeah. If you could take a game that you can make for $15 here and make it for $5 in China and get it shipped here, and so it becomes a $7 problem, a $7 cost versus let's call it $14 cost. You're selling it for $80. You're going to make it in China, right? And particularly if the quality is better and you can make more of them or whatever the case may be. It's a no-brainer to do it. So of course you would do that. Anyway,
the CRT is in your favor if you do that. But
exactly.
So trying to bring it back to war games. But we totally went all over the place on that one. And there's another good point too from Mark. Robots is what will keep manufacturing from generating jobs. But regardless, money drives business, and who is going to invest in infrastructure that does not have a decent ROI, which is true.
Right.
So robots and AI. That's the whole thing now that everyone's concerned about, and it will have an effect on things. But I want to know, with robots and AI, will we have robot AI war game opponents that we can buy? And we can have them in your house, and you can just turn them on and say, okay, sit down. We're going to play whatever game.
Sit your ass down and play Case Blue. Let's go.
And then you can say to it, hey, what is rule 12.2.1? And it will go.
That already exists.
No, but I mean an actual robot that sits at the
actual table. Robot standing at the table, moving pieces.
You mean like your personal robot, Mo, the one with long blonde hair and jumpers?
No, not that one. That one, no.
The your little Patton or your little Napoleon. Oh, you have different personality profiles.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Please turn on Napoleon profile. What are you doing? This is a crazy attack.
This is true. And this is true too. Once you outsource all your products, you unemploy your buyer.
Yeah.
And I can tell you from
that's a good one. I like it.
Yeah, from the technical aspect, going back to what you were saying about India, it's like they're outsourcing their call centers, everything. So tech support you're talking to people in India that have zero sense of ownership to the problem, and they have zero sense of urgency. You tell them something's down. Okay, so is this a problem for one person? No, the entire enterprise is down. Okay, we'll get somebody to call you back as soon as possible. sometime today or tomorrow. No, I need it now. This is a Sev 1. This is an immediate get me right up to level 3 support.
Yeah, but evidently to those people, those jobs are like king. Because my wife
Oh,
worked
yeah.
in a call center for a while, and they started outsourcing her jobs.
Mhm.
That's why she ended up getting laid off.
Yeah.
And she found out that there was some storm that came through India and it flooded, like major flooding. And evidently those people were swimming to work and still showing up in conditions no American will ever show up to, because they didn't want to lose the job, because they knew someone else would take it if they didn't show up, because it was considered that well of a paying job compared to what other employment options they had.
But they're all reading off of office scripts,
Oh, I know. They can barely speak English.
and they're getting paid way less than what they pay U.S. workers.
Of course, that's why it's there, right?
Yeah,
it's useless.
So
credit card companies are the worst.
Anyway, going back to tactical war games, modern tactics. Again, this is not a critique or a bad criticism of the game that it's a bad game. It's not. It's a fun game. It's just the criticism of wanting to have more accuracy, especially going forward when you're having more peer-to-peer type of engagements. You want to make sure that the ranges are going to be more accurate. So that's something that we can talk to Shane about as well as they start working on those next ones.
I'd like to see him bump up the firepower.
What's that?
Yeah.
I'd like to see him bump up the firepower for vehicles and maybe drop it down a little bit for the infantry, a point or two.
But you know what's going to happen the minute he does that for that game? People are going to say that doesn't match the last game. The last game we were at 8 or 4 or whatever. It's like he can't win.
Oh, the last game was a different conflict being simulated.
Oh wow, nice! You got a copy of Modern Tactic from Pushing Cardboard's giveaway. Awesome.
I'll tell you what, I will give it to Volca. They have really just been putting out some good shit the past few years.
They really do.
Volca. I put an L in there. I'm Southern.
It's
extra
Volca.
letter too.
No, VUCA and Sound of Drums, I think, are the two premier war game publishers right now. They really are pushing the limit for everybody, which is great. Yeah, they are.
And the component quality, I mean, yeah, it's Chinese, but you got to give it as good component quality for Modern Tactics too.
All the components are Chinese, pretty much everything is. So, but yeah, it's what they're putting together is just really something special, and I'm excited and I'm here for it. That's for sure. So, nope, that's true. VUCA hasn't missed yet. So, hopefully we'll get to have a chance to sit down and talk to Patrick here in the next few weeks or a couple months about that. But as I said earlier, coming up for me, I have to get with Jeff and we're going to sit down and play Army of the Potomac. And then we're going to have another show with me, Jeff, and Mark Herman, where we're going to talk about Army of the Potomac and the future plans for it. Because as he said, it's just it's getting sent off to China on Monday. So what do you got going, Nate?
Like I said, still finishing in a dark wood. I've got the proper review for A Bridge Too Far by Phalanx. That's already been recorded, so that'll be up. I've got a handful of videos for Modern Tactics. Got a playthrough of that's going up, which will please whoever it was that put it on there that I needed to shut up and just play the game and be quiet. What was his comment? Some along those lines, and stop talking so much in my reviews.
Oh, that guy was so rude.
Review is
me talking.
Yeah.
That's the whole point. And then, I don't know if you know this, but all the background footage, that was me playing, buddy.
When you do a playthrough, you're moving too many counters. I can't keep up.
Yeah.
It's the same logic.
And explain these things better, please.
Yeah. Why are you moving that 2 hexes?
But yeah, got some more stuff coming from Phalanx. Want to try to show off Battletech Aces at some point when I get a chance. 65, more World War 85 I'm still working on. Got a bunch of British Tank Ace that I've already recorded. I just got to find time to get it uploaded and put up. So I've got a lot of good stuff coming. And FYI, just putting it out there. Make sure you guys tune in next month because, like I said, I've already lined up a few giveaways for Christmas. So make sure you guys tune in for that episode. It will be the Christmas giveaway. Begged a couple of copies from another Mark.
Nice.
Permanent.
Nice.
Yeah, so we got some good stuff coming there. And yeah, that's it.
What about you, Kev?
Exactly what I said earlier on. Next for Taiwan. We got
21 games you got going.
Yeah, well, I like to have a couple of games going at a time.
Yeah, no, that's good.
And a couple of online things that we'll see. So Spring Prelude, I'm particularly excited about because I think that's one of the better. Greg, it's Blanchett, right? Greg Blanchett.
Yeah.
I keep his name wrong. I really like. He's hit that kind of nice point for
you got the
detail and playability and great maneuver and interesting back and forth. So, yep.
And then one other thing I wanted to mention that I forgot to mention, I put a note to myself to bring that up, was there is a landing page on GameFound. If you guys want to go over to GameFound and check out the Red Horizon 41 Revised Edition, which will be coming out. And, the Assault series is a great series. And now that is done, not just Wolfgang is not just doing it on his own anymore. Now he's doing it under Sound of Drums. So that's what we're talking about, VUCA and Sound of Drums. Just fantastic quality. We've talked about it. We've shown it on the channel here. Nate's shown it on his channel. Kev, I think you've also shown it on yours as well.
Twice, yeah.
It's a great system. It's a really fun system. It's kind of like, if you like miniatures and if you like counters, both sides are going to be super happy with it because they're counters, but they act like miniatures almost. And it's just really fantastic. A lot of fun, fast playing, and you get some big, enjoyable battles. And Red Horizon 41 Revised Edition will be coming out, which will have the expansion that came out for that. It'll be in this one. It'll be part of the core game. So if you missed out on the first time through, definitely go over to GameFound and get on the list for that, because that will be coming out soon.
Yeah, and to add to what Mo's saying, that game has the single best replay value of any tactical game that I've ever played. The way they have the formations, the order of battle set up, again, just I've talked about it a lot, but they have cards representing all the different units. So if you have a order of battle that says infantry and 2 armor, you're not going to have the same tanks and infantry every time you play that scenario. You can randomly draw the cards, and this time you might have Shermans, or this time you might have whatever. It doesn't matter. It changes it up, but it's all set up to give you a fair battle in the way the order systems work out. Really just outstanding. So many different ways you can play that. You can play the same scenario 10 times and not have it play the same way twice. Unending replay value of that game.
Yeah, it's fantastic. You get a lot of game. It's a big box, but you get a lot of game in that box for sure. So Bob was asking, are there any quality conventions coming up that interest you guys? And you got Stuka Joe going over to Badajoz, Spain. He's going to be Otakon. That will be a fun one. He always does great coverage of that. So make sure you check out his channel, Stuka Joe's channel, and catch up on all of that great coverage when he's over there.
I'm going to one in Seattle in January, but I can't remember the name of it. So
World War III Con, that one? Or
No, it's something else.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it is. And then April, I'm going to Mitch Land's Con in St.
Oh, the next war?
It's the one before that. It's a MonsterCon thing. It's like it's a smaller thing, private thing. It's like 30 guys.
Yeah. Nice. I won't be going anything till next Compass.
Did you go to Compass?
Yeah, I went to Expo a couple weeks ago, and I'll be going again. Obviously in next November, but I don't go to the spring con. I just go to the November con. So, but once I retire, then I'll have more free time to be able to go wherever I want, which will be nice. Because that was one of the problems of going to this last con. There was issues that I was trying to work on via the phone because I didn't bring my laptop. Yeah, the heck with it. I'm going to leave my laptop and going away for a long weekend. Well, I probably should have brought my laptop because I was working via the phone, which didn't work as well. So I was playing, kind of carousel there on the phone, trying to work through a problem until the next morning. And finally, I was able to settle that all down by noon, and then settle down and try to enjoy the con, which was fun, but it's just a pain. That's why I can't wait to retire.
You didn't do any recording while you were there?
No, I did no recording. So I just did some play testing.
And not record anything.
Because I went to a con to relax. Because I went to a con to relax and talk to people and play some games. That's what I did, so
that's what I'm doing in January.
Yeah. I just did not, I wasn't too worried about getting any B-roll or A-roll or anything like that. So, but anyway, that is it for tonight, fellas. I appreciate it. Everyone coming on tonight. I know Gimpy's got to get ready for tomorrow, his big Thanksgiving night. So we're cutting it a little shorter tonight than we normally do, but thanks everybody for tuning in, and make sure you come by next month for our December show. Our Christmas show is always a great one. We have a lot of great giveaways in place for you guys for to put under your tree. So stay tuned for that next month. And until then, have a great night.